Hello, welcome. My name is Johnny. I am with HomeCountry Mathematics. Thank you for hitting the play button. Today we're working on fractions. I recommend that you have your multiplication or times table memorized. This is going to help you significantly in regards to being able to find common numbers with fractions and numbers, great common factors, which are numbers that you can use for reducing fractions. Okay. Let's begin. Write each fraction in simplest form. In other words, reduce your fraction. If the fraction is already in simplest form, just write simplest form. Let's begin. We have 52 over 13. What we need to do is, a little bit of thinking. So, one thing you can think of is if you have a really good understanding of money and think of quarters as 25 cents or 25, 2 quarters equals 50 cents, and so on. So, half of 50 is around 25, correct? So we just got to figure out what's half of 25. And logically in our mind, we know that's roughly somewhere between 12 and 13. So what we can do is we could begin with 13 and just multiply that by 2, which equals, basically you're doubling the ones place and the tens place. So you end up with 26. Logically in our mind, we know half of 50 is 25. Therefore, what we can do is just double this again. 3 times 2 equals 26. If we do simple addition here, we could go 6 and 6 is 12. Carry the 1. We get 2 plus 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. That gives us our number 52 right here. So with that said, all we need to do is take these two numbers and add them together. And we will get 4. So this means 13 times 4 equals 52. So let's now reduce and factor. first thing we do is we ask ourselves, what times 13 equals 13? Well, that one is an easy one, right? That is 1. So our common number for factoring, what we're looking for is the greatest common factor. It's also called the GCF. I tend to just call it factoring to keep it simple. So we need our largest number that we can factor out of 52 and factor out of 13. Both those common numbers are 13. So 13 for our numerator and 13 for our denominator. The reason we do this is so that we can divide the numerator from the denominator and get a number equal to 1. That's our goal. And if you look, that ends up being kind of a smiley face. All right, let's continue. So now we ask ourselves, what times 13 gives us 13? Well, that's 1. What times 13 gives us 52? Well, we figured that out here. 13 times 4 equals 52. Because if you think of it logically, 2 25s equals 50. Half of 25 is between 12 and 13. So it takes 4 of these to equal to 50. Roughly. It's actually a decimal value. That's okay. So what we're left with is 4 over 1. Any number divided by 1 is the same number. Our final answer is 4. Okay. Whoops, let's do another. Okay. 9 over 15. Fractions are fun, everybody. So what we need to do is find our GCF. Okay? I call it the largest number. You want to find the largest common number that divides into your numerator and also divides in your denominator. It has to be a common number. Knowing your multiplication table, we know that 3 times 3 equals 9. In turn, we also know 3 times 5 equals 15. Therefore, our common number between the numerator and the denominator is 3. I like to place the greatest common number in brackets. And then I ask myself, what times 3 gives us 9? Well, that's 3. What times 3 gives us 15? Well, that's 5. So we've found our two common numbers, which we want, and they cancel each other out because they are both equal to 1. 3 divided by 3 equals 1. So therefore we're left with 3 over 5. And we cannot reduce any further because we know that 3 does not divide nicely into 5. Let's quickly do another. $26 into 100. So again, you want to find the largest common greatest common factor. Now that may be a little difficult at first, but if you have to reduce in 2 steps, that is fine as well. Typically, you would look at these two numbers and you know that 2 divides nicely into both 26 and 100. We could do this in a couple of steps. So if you want, we could factor using 2. And then we have to figure out how many times does 2 go into 26? Quickest way to do it may be just simple long division. 2 goes into 2 nicely. So I'm going to put a 2 here. What times 2 gives you 2? That is 1. Subtracting gives us 0. Bring down the 6. Ignoring the 0, what times 2 gives us 6? That is 3. So we're going to put a 3 here and a 6 here. And again, subtraction. With division, it's always subtraction. We're left with a remainder of 0. That's what we want. So now we know 13 times 2 equals 26. And we could do the same with 100. But again, if you think of 100 like money, you know that it takes 4 25s equals $1. Now the decimal doesn't matter where it is. The decimal could be anywhere. Just ignore the decimal. You can look at this as 25 plus 25 plus 25 plus 25 equals 100. So therefore, we know it's going to take 2 of these. So 25 and 25 is 50. So that means 50 times 2 equals 100. These cancel. We're left with 13 over 50. And that is it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.